Yeah, Arati Kadav.
Hi. Hi, guys.
Hey.
Hi. Yeah, this is like early morning in India. I'm so excited to see you guys. Yeah, I'm
Oh
so
man,
happy.
we are absolutely thrilled. You look
Yeah.
fantastic.
Thanks, thanks. I'm sitting next to a window, so I'm happy. Yeah. Yeah.
Are you drinking your chai?
Yes, yes,
Yummy,
yeah.
yummy.
Oh, that's awesome. And
Yeah.
And
where,
what part of India are you in?
So right now I'm in the outskirts. I live in Mumbai, but I'm in the outskirts of India. I'm in a small sort of a farmhouse, and I'm just because of the lockdown. I came here for a week's break, and there's a very month-long lockdown in India, so I'm here for a while now. Yeah, I was always excited about mythology in general, so I used to consume a lot of mythological stories growing up, and even when I got into sci-fi, I was really excited about what the dominant myths of various cultures are, so not just India but maybe China or Africa, and especially the creation myths or the afterlife myths were so exciting. And then when I went back and saw the afterlife myth of India, I said, oh my god, this needs a serious upgrade. So I thought, why not just start make a movie on that? So that's how the whole cargo thing started. So
Clever. How
yeah.
long did it take you? Well, how long did it take you to write it? But how long did like had you had it swimming around in your head to do it?
Uh, so actually, so in India there is no concept of sci-fi films as such. So I had a long struggle pitching and getting my sci-fi films made. So it was around I think 2017 when I was very close to making another a really big sci-fi film that kind of didn't come together, and that's when I thought that I have to in this year make a film. So actually 2017 was when I spent like most of my time, around 6 to 7 months, writing this. And but just before this I was writing something else, but for some reason I was stuck in my head that I want to make a spaceship film, because there's no spaceship film from India as such. There's no sci-fi spaceship film ever made in India, and I was like, we have to make it. And it was coming very naturally to me. So yeah, around 6 7 months to write it, but and then we took a month to shoot it. Like we shot it in early 2018, but it took us like the post took a very long time, getting the spaceships and getting the details, and there's a lot of it's around 60 70% VFX. So that took a very long time, and we were figuring out that pipeline while we were going, because we didn't have anyone else who did it before us. And so we were just doing it on our own, like, and it was like fun, though we learned a lot. Yeah, and the whole crew, it was a super passion project. Everybody who came in was like very passionate about doing this right, because we knew the responsibility that we were the first sci-fi, in the sense we were, it could all fall apart if it was not right, like, so we knew the responsibility that we were taking upon us when we started with this. And every crew member, I think they went little at extra length. I'm sure like every crew member who was working on the film was dreaming about the film in the night, like, we were also excited about the film while we were making it. And even the actors, like everybody, like it was just a joy for us, like, yeah, I mean there were challenges, but we were in it together, so that was fun.
members. And I can tell you, I remember when your film came in. It was one of the late entries, and I was floored. I was
Mm.
floored when I saw this. I said, "Wait a second,
Mm.
Argo. Okay, where's?" I always look where the movie comes from.
Yes.
I and this is probably the first year that I look at all the trailers before I watch the film. 'Cause I have to really just go dive right into the film.
Yes.
I looked at the trailer. I said, "Wait a second, this is different. It's really different." And no offense to me, when I describe this film, I tell folks this is a mashup between a Space Odyssey, Moon, and Space 1999. That's what I see. Which, if you're a fan of a Space Odyssey, Moon, and Space
Yes.
99, it has that
Yeah.
retro. And
Yes.
to me, VFX are done very well because much of this looks like practical effects.
Yes, 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 true. And thank you so much, because I still remember the phone call that you made. And I know that's what I was telling someone, that like when you like someone's movie, just take that efforts to make that phone call to the person, because we put it pour in our heart when we make it. And I still remember that you called me in the night, and I think for next 2 days, I was just so happy that someone was excited after seeing the film. And it was, yeah, it's like one of the, yeah, joys, like, precious gift that you gave me. and all the references that you spoke about, like I'm a fan of all those films. And we also spoke about Doctor Who, because what I like about Doctor Who is, like, they are scrappy, like, they don't let budgets limit their imagination. It's like, okay, fine, we don't have it, we'll make this whatever as our, the big powerful weapon that will destroy the earth, like, so I
Yeah.
think what I like, I like that you should not limit your imagination based on your budgets. And at the same time, I do like big budget films because they actually let you see what you really want to imagine, and they just push the boundaries of imagination. So I like both of them in a way, and I try to do that. And as you said, like, like a lot of effects that we use, where we try to use practical effects because we knew going forward the VFX would be challenging, so and the cost would go up. So in fact, like, if you see, I mean, and then we go back to using what the real astronauts are using. So a lot of them use pencil and paper, so we were using that, and that became such an important part, that he takes off people and he shreds them. So so, and how to use those practical effects as metaphors and stuff like that, like,
How long did it take to build the set, to build the interior of the set?
yeah, it took us 15 days to build the set. 15 days to build the set, but the set was built in two parts. So, I mean, it took us 15 days to build the first part, which was the main area where the people arrive, and,
Yeah, it's
and their rooms. Yeah, yeah. And another 10 days to build the other set, which was outside, which had tunnels and all, like, because that we couldn't fit into the studio. We wanted it little, so it
wow.
was built in two parts. And the same portion, like, so we when we built the set in the studio, we when we dismantled it, we exactly used the same artifacts and just arranged it and outside and made it a little longer. So it's, if you'll be able to see, identify, I mean, as a director, I could identify, hey, this was in his room, now it is in this place. So we reuse portions of the spaceship to make other portions of the spaceship. So that's how we kind of made the whole spaceship look bigger, like, we were just using those parts, reusing and reconstructing and making different rooms.
So RT, so one of the things I really picked up on was your writing style and your directing style with Vikrant and Shweta. Like they basically be, they're every man, every woman. They're very relatable. Where Vikrant looks young, but he's already a little bit jaded in his ways, and Shweta is very, very just happy to be there, obviously,
Yes.
and
Yeah.
all the social media. But then even your the background, there's a huge trend, in Miami, lots of places like Miami where we have the
Yeah.
retro tech, and your whole
Yes.
space folk is full of
Yeah.
analog pieces. I
Yeah.
noticed a lot of that stuff at art festivals have like a lot of analog components now. So it's not
Yeah.
it's not superficial. It's not like, ancient. It's not like, like antique. It's modern equipment, but it's got that analog, very organic feel, and your whole movie felt like that. And the thing that really stuck out was all your train scenes.
Yeah.
Just like from like me growing up, going to India and looking at mythology on the trains, it kind of like spoke to me. I'm like learning about Indian mythology and on trains, and it's just in a sci-fi movie now. It was pretty interesting. So how did you like come up with this
Yeah.
retro future
Yeah.
concept? And
So, yeah. So I'm like, anyways, very passionate about design, and I have been like, I have my own private collection of images, like, and in general, I love the clunkiness. I love the tactile, the retro. I don't like touchscreen as much as I like a calculator with buttons that goes back, bounces back, that speaks back to you. And my idea was that I wanted the spaceship also to be an organism in itself. So a metallic organization, a metallic organism, but little clunky, which is like, has a life of its own. And I've always seen spaceships very perfect, like they don't break down as such, like, and I wanted it to be like, where he's having problems with portions of his, his spaceship, where he's getting electric shocks somewhere, something is falling apart, sometimes the signal is weak. So I wanted him to have almost the same problems we have it here. I did want to bring in, when I was making the first, because I was very clear that, like, it has to be very Indian. So I brought in these mythologies of India, and I wanted to bring in India. I wanted to bring in the people of India on the spaceship, because I thought that's the only way the audience will accept, because we have no reference of a spaceship film. So I wanted them to find their own people from their own neighborhood on the spaceship in general. So I was the like sort of it was designed that, like, I'll bring people of old man who's forgetful, or uh, so people whom we recognize in general, or the marriage party, like, so we recognize those people, and it was fun to see them on a spaceship.